We are back, dear brothers and sisters. Once again, we are back and
Welcome,
happy to be
everyone.
with you. Happy to be in your place once again. It's nothing but the truth with
Brother Jamil.
and Sister Tisha. We're back in front of these microphones again in an attempt to share with you information and inspiration to help us move further along the path of progress, freedom, justice, and equality. We have quite an exciting program for you tonight. Just as you come into the room and make yourselves known and everybody signs in and make sure that they do the three things that Tisha will tell you in just a few moments, how to make sure you become a supporter of the program. But tonight we have a very special edition of Nothing But the Truth. Tonight we want to look into how we can prepare ourselves financially, organizationally for the future of our families. And we want to look into how we can do that from the various perspectives that we have, either employed or unemployed or
Mhm.
self employed or entrepreneurs, how we can move and get those things done so we can navigate the waters that are getting quite truculent, quite frankly, as America goes through phases that she's never been through before.
Right.
I didn't want to say the fall of America because that might be like I'm preaching or something. You know, we don't
We
preach
don't preach.
here on.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't.
we don't really preach here on nothing but the truth. But we want you to know that if America does fall or just stumbles a bit, that you and I should be ready to take care of our families the very best way that we can. So we're here tonight, and folks are coming in the room. We are glad to see you. As Tisha's going to make sure she recognizes you who are coming in, we are available on Facebook at Tisha Muhammad, Teasha Muhammad.
That's right.
We're available on YouTube at Nothing But the Truth with
With
Brother
Brother Jamil.
Jamil and Sister Tisha.
Hmm.
And we've got plenty of places to engage you, and we know you have plenty to say. So tonight, we welcome everybody. Looks like we're going to start in Texas welcoming folks, huh?
Yes, yes. Miss Trisha's here, my sister-in-law.
Trisha's
Love
here,
me some
sister-in-law.
Trisha.
Good to see you.
Hey.
Yes, indeed. She says, hi, my family, and we're glad to see you. Oh, look, look. Angela thinks we speaking to her.
Did you check the mail?
I didn't check the mail today. Maybe it's out there. Maybe it's a pound cake with apples in it, you know, and that little caramel glaze on top of the pound cake with the apples. But if it ain't, let's skip past Sister Angela
Mm.
from Jacksonville, Florida. We
Assalamualaikum.
don't even. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah.
She's talking about don't
But
do me like that.
but we got so many coming in from around the country. Everybody pull up a chair. Everybody get a seat from coast to coast, literally tonight. Literally from coast to coast on the Atlantic coast, as far south as Jacksonville, Florida, Duval County, Florida, and way out in Alameda County, California, the great city of Oakland, where tonight's guest comes from. We will be covering some ground from Texas to Illinois, back up to Maryland, Virginia, D.C., Pennsylvania, Kansas, and Missouri, everywhere in between. This is Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil and the lovely Sister Tisha. What do
All
we
right,
do? How do we
sis.
support the show, hon?
So
Talk
what
about
we
that.
do is we encourage you to please go visit all of our social media platforms to help us continue to grow and share this with others. You can first get onto Facebook page, hit like, share, subscribe, and then mosey over to our YouTube page, Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil and Sister Tisha, and do the same. All right, and then when you see the broadcast, go back and watch the what is it, the replay of it, and share it with a friend. Then meet us back here again next Thursday, same time, same place. We're
Yes,
going to
indeed.
grow, grow, grow. This year we have a lot of things in store. We want you to be a part of it.
Yes, indeed. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to support. And later on in the program, we'll tell you how you can offer direct support to Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil and Sister Tisha. But we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing in the right way and for the right reasons. I watched my wife the other day. Some of you may have seen me comment about it, but I watched her handling some of business affairs,
Mm.
which a lot of this gave rise to the program that we're hosting tonight. But as she handled the various different matters that were before her, I couldn't help but think of the book of Proverbs in the Old Testament. I thought about chapter 31, verses 10 through 31. Of course, we don't preach here, but we can reference the Bible as a book of history. Is that right?
That's right.
But in that particular passage, it talks about the virtuous woman.
Mm.
and her price being far above Ruby's because she handles business from a principled perspective. She carries the name and reputation of her family in a way so as to make both her husband and her family proud of her. And so, as I watched Sister Tisha doing that, I thought about an excellent opportunity for us tonight to explore ways that we can help every family within the sounds of our voices. So, if you haven't gone on already and commented, come on in the comment section. Let us know that you see us and that you hear us. Like the program, hit like as often as you care, and then share the program to your feed so your friends can hear the vital information that we'll be sharing tonight. This is an important program. This is the time and what must be done. You heard the theme. You know, our music directors out there. And we thank you, Brother Gary, for everything you do all the time, bringing us the good music. And it's funny, the tune that you hear at the top of the program is literally, formally, it's titled The End of the Beginning. It's the name of it. But when we heard the melody, it says boom ba doo ba doom, which sounds like what, honey?
Nothing but the truth.
Nothing but the truth. And when we hear that, we we responded to it, and we knew it was a natural fit for this program. And so we're just grateful that everybody is coming back in the room, back on board, and back to where we started from and beyond. So welcome back, everybody. This is nothing but the truth.
Okay, guys. So remember last week when we came back, we talked a little bit about storing up and getting ready for this show is just another spinoff of that because we said we were going to keep um what's the word, we wanted to keep exploring what we could do to make sure that we're prepared for the tough times that may be on its way, that actually are on its way. So
Mhm.
tonight we plan to talk about our finances. Last week we touched a little bit on securing our homes with things, food and tangible items that we need to store up. But bigger than that, we need to really stop and assess our financial situations because we're comfortable right now. Some of us, most of us, we're comfortable right now because it's the time of plenty. But things are really going to get tough, guys. They're toughing it up now. They're getting tighter now. You see the inflation, and we have to stop and just really take a true assessment of how our finances are going, and not just yours. Maybe help your family. If you're a little more financial savvy than your children, than your parents, or what have you, let's really delve into and look at if we're really prepared for what's to come,
Mm.
because it's going to get tight and it's going to get stressful, and the more we're prepared, the easier it will be to navigate these waters that are coming. So
Yes.
once our special guest comes on board, having a little bit of technical difficulty right now, but once they come on board, we're going to really ask that he share some topics or strategies to help us all navigate these times that are coming. And
Yes.
if it doesn't work out, if we can't get the technical things worked out, we want you to participate on some things that you may know to do. This is a community forum, and we're here for each other. We're here to grow and to help each other. We're going to get through this, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I thank you for that commentary because it reminds me, Tisha, how the audience is so key
Mm-hmm.
to nothing but the truth. We depend on our audience to participate in a broadcast that is participatory. It is not a spectator sport, it's a participant sport, if you will. We get on the field, we get on the court, and we make things happen together as a team. If you know of various different aspects that we can employ that will help us to get over the hump, if you will, this is the time to bring them up. Last year on our program, the first season of Nothing But the Truth, we had so many guests that were so popular. And this brother that we're bringing again tonight, by the help of Allah, we're working out the technical issues. But the brother that we're bringing forward to you tonight is a brother who is really no stranger to these airwaves. Um, Nephew William, that's what we call him,
Mm-hmm.
because he's a young brother, but he's very powerful in the way that he carries himself in the world of business and in the world of his community service through the Nation of Islam. Oh, wait a minute. We've been joined by Big Dave C.
Love you,
Big
Dave.
Dave C is in the house, and I really hope. I know he's representing Brother Vaughn wherever he may be in Atlanta. There's so many other things happening. We got our family on from Mississippi. Good to see you all in the house, Brother David, Brother Daoud, Sister Catherine. Oh man, everybody's gathering around this evening, and we're going to work to make this thing happen. You see these cardboard boxes behind us. We're still unpacking the room that will be the studio where we'll be broadcasting this message from. Stick with us. There's a whole lot more for you to see, a whole lot more for you to do, and a whole lot more for you to participate in tonight. Hun, one of the first things I wanted to ask and I think some of our greatest and most successful interview segments have been when we talk to you.
Me?
Yes, ma'am, you. In this family, you said that some people are more savvy financially than perhaps their parents or
Okay.
their children. And you didn't say, you were very kind. You didn't say, or your husband.
I,
Yeah, you,
you caught that.
yeah, I caught that. But I wanted to ask you, what do you think couples can do when one member of the couple has more skill or experience in managing financial issues? Some of us can make money, but
Hmm.
we're not managers of money. How can a money maker and a money manager blend their skills together to make a successful family?
Well, in my opinion, a marriage is a team. It's a team, and
Mhm.
so each player may have play a different part. One can bring the money. One can make sure that she's a good steward over the money and stretches it.
So
And
she's a good steward
I
over the
mean,
money.
because somebody goes to
That's
the store
pronoun.
and they put in all kinds of stuff in the cart that the other one didn't have on the list, and then act surprised when they get to the counter. So she usually goes to the store by herself. But one can make the money, one can manage the money, but it shouldn't be all one sided. You guys should keep the communication open to let each other know what's happening with the money, especially when big purchases or you know, big ticket items are being thought about.
Mhm, mhm. And
That's all.
big ticket items like automobiles, houses, right? Those are things that it's very hard not to communicate about. But there's a level of purchase under a car that major clothing purchases, for example. If a husband goes somewhere and orders
Where is he
two
going with this?
tailor-made suits, should should the husband disclose that he ordered the tailor-made suits, or certainly he shouldn't wait until he gets on the air and start talking about that, should he?
Hey, mystery man, is our guest ready yet?
Okay, all right. So
Me.
okay, because no, if you got a tailor who's taking a discount and who's giving you the full English drape and the shape of the suit along the sides of the blades and the basting gives you a drape from a six button two six on two, and it's I mean and everything is there,
I think
how could you not get that
I
garment?
think we're ready. I think we're ready. I
All right,
can't with
I
him.
think we're ready for our guest to come forward at this time, and he'll help us with these questions and more. But he is a brother with whom many of you are already familiar. He's my brother and my friend of many years in the Nation of Islam, having served in the military as a trainer of men, having served as a study group leader, having served as a friend to communities literally from coast to coast, from New York to Philadelphia. He's a University of Missouri graduate. Go Tigers. And I don't know how y'all gonna do against Colorado this year, but we'll talk about that. But from the University of Missouri all the way out to the West Coast, he's been with us as a Nation of Islam stalwart, a member of the health ministry of the Nation of Islam. You'll see him every year roving the floor at Savior's Day, wearing the distinctive green sash of the health and wellness ministry of the Nation of Islam. He's our brother, he's our friend, he's Brother William Muhammad, and he's in studio. Brother William,
Assalamu alaikum.
there you are. Alaikum salam. We can hear you now, brother, and you look great out there in that fine location which you've pinned down. You're shining and got a little light coming off the top of the dome.
Well,
You look
I've been back on that how to eat to live, so
yeah, you looking good, brother. You looking good.
Can I say one thing about this fine piece of material that's going to be draped over a particular you can't help but to get it. It's really for you, Sister Tisha. It's really for you.
I
Go ahead
thought
and
you
talk.
were coming to
Go ahead and
save me,
talk,
Brother
man. Go ahead
William.
and talk.
It's really for you.
It's so that we don't have to purchase suit after suit after suit,
Yeah.
so that we can have a few pieces in our closet that serve the purpose of
Serve the
staying,
purpose.
I
Sister
can't.
Catherine
I
in
can't.
Mississippi says, Brother William. Okay. Ah, Brother David.
Hey, well, you
And Minister David is with us in Jackson, so we have to behave tonight. He's student minister, longtime helper of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So we're
that's
going
right.
to on our very best behavior tonight. But brother,
Yes.
I'm glad to see you because
I'm
you,
happy to see you both. I really am.
yes, sir, an active perspective on how we can get our families in a state of financial fitness before
Yes.
the real unfortunate events that are about to overtake this country, and some of them have already begun. Can you talk a
Yeah.
little bit about how we can recognize from just studying the news, reading the paper, listening to broadcasts? How can we tell that America is entering dangerous financial times?
One, thank you very much for inviting me again on your show. It's always an honor and a pleasure to not just be with you two, but be with our whole family. I really enjoy that. Uh, that's a very interesting question because there's a lot of things that are happening uh, in the financial world on lots of different from lots of different positions or perspectives. One thing I like to watch, because obviously I'm in insurance, is I watch the temperature of insurance companies as a whole.
Hmm.
So when you see companies like, well, I don't want to say any names. Okay, there we go. I don't want to say any names, but there's one that's got a lizard.
Mm-hmm.
Has a lizard as a mascot, right? They have shut down all of their operations in California.
Hmm.
And so how California goes, so does the rest of the country when it comes to uh, finance and insurance and housing markets and things like that, along with New York. So they kind of push together in the middle. You see in the news where State Farm is no longer doing fire policies in
Yes.
California, right? And that's a big, big, big deal because there are a lot of different. We have a fire season here, like you have a snowy season and a rainy season. Well, California has a fire season, and there are billions of dollars that are lost in real estate, billions of dollars that are lost in the banking situations because some of these banks catch on fire too, right? These homes, these schools, these hospitals, they're burning up, and it's really looking like America is being curtailed from the outside in. So on the coast, there's no there. I've never heard of a hurricane hitting the West Coast.
Yes, yes,
Typhoons hit the West Coast,
Right.
not hurricanes. But recently, there was a hurricane that flooded Los Angeles. That the remnants of that storm flooded Las Vegas. So we're seeing people being pushed, and we're seeing businesses leaving the western part of the country and leaving the eastern part of the country and moving into the middle, where
Yeah.
land is considerably cheaper, where the cost of doing business is considerably cheaper. And there was this book that I read. You may have heard of it. It's a really good book. It's called The Fall of America by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And
wow,
it talks about in this book how America will be curtailed on its side and it would be pushed to the middle. So we're seeing these things come to pass now, right?
Right.
In the 70s and the 60s, that wasn't even a thought pattern for most people. You walk outside and it's always sunshiny in California. There was a song by a wonderful group out of the town. That's what we call Oakland. Now that I've been here for a good 8 years now,
mhm,
called "It Never Rains in Southern California." Well, it
Right.
certainly has been raining, right? But
yes,
what do those weather patterns have to do with finance?
Hmm.
mhm,
Everything. when there is destruction, when you have those wildfires and you have these rain, think about how many billions of dollars that are lost. And then do you think that you have the right type of coverage in your insurance policies? And come to find out when you call the claims department, oh, you didn't have flood insurance.
Right, right.
Oh, you didn't have earthquake insurance. Those are two separate things. Oh, yeah, that's a fire policy, but you don't have, you were trying to save some money, so your deductible is $25,000, right? Your vehicle is burnt up and you have car insurance, but you don't have renter's insurance or homeowner's insurance. So all of the things that you had inside of your car are gone, right? So it's best to have the conversation, one with your insurance agent, or you're welcome to email or call me, and I'm happy to go over these things with you, just to make sure that you have the right kind of coverage. And then we get into the banking situation, right?
Now, before we do that,
Yes,
I
sir.
think we can make a commitment that before the program goes all the way to its conclusion tonight, we are going to ask that we place on the screen for everyone who wants to contact Brother William and ask a question. You don't have to live in California. You don't have to be in Northern California. But you need to be able to talk with someone that you can trust. And he's not the only one that you can trust, but he's one of the ones that we trust. And we thank him for being with us tonight. You were going to mention something now that you're really going to open up banking.
May I,
Yes.
may I ask a question, Brother William, before you
Yes.
leave insurance tip?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain or speak to just a little bit the different cost of insurance? Because sometimes we pick the cheapest of everything trying to save a dollar, and usually just for just a few dollars more, you get so much more coverage.
Absolutely.
I know it's better to have some sort of coverage, but what I learned the hard way and way too late in the game is just a few dollars more would have saved me thousands or
Can
gave
I?
me access to thousands more. Could you just speak to that a little bit? Just
Yeah,
educate.
yes, I could. You know what? I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I personally went through an experience where I'm glad I made a decision like what you're talking about. Uh, I was in a really bad car accident in July.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But in June, I decided I wanted to change the deductibles on my car insurance. I went from having $500 deductibles to collision was a $100 deductible, and comprehensive, which is, okay, let's say somebody breaks in your car and they tear it up, that's comprehensive. If you're in a car accident, your car hits something or there's a tort, something smacked, something hit, that goes under collision. So the comprehensive was at zero. Then I said, you know what, I'm going to need a rental car if something ever happens. So I went on, I got the high version of the insurance, and my car insurance only went up $4.
Mm.
What?
I had this car accident, and it's different for everybody, but it
Mhm.
literally went up $4 a month. I had this car accident. Within one day, I had a rental car.
Mhm.
It cost me nothing. My vehicle was towed. It was totaled out,
Mhm.
and I had a check within 6 days to replace what I had lost.
Hmm.
And I was only out $100.
Mhm.
Wow.
$100.
$100 at
Somebody,
the rate of
somebody
$4.
went to work.
At the
Four
rate of
dollars.
$4 difference.
$4. That's not even a whole bean pie. That's not even a half a bean pie in Philly.
And that's why we're having this type of show, just to educate us, because who
Right.
knows?
It's okay to ask the questions, and it's okay to say, I don't know.
Right.
There are lots of things that I don't know, right? I don't know how to make a bean pie.
Right.
There's some people who make bean pies that don't know how to make a bean pie.
You know
Now
what? Get out.
now
Get
you're
out.
messy.
Get
Now
out.
you're messy, and you need to stop doing. Don't be messy
Mm.
on the show. Now, come on.
I'm being, yes, sir.
Okay.
Uh, However, there's a lot of things that we don't that we don't know, right? And you don't know what you don't know, but the best thing to do is ask the question of
Yes.
those who you understand do know. It takes me 5 minutes to be able to give you an answer about your coverages. What may take you an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to go through in your mortgage papers. I can look through that in 4 or 5 minutes and say, okay, you need to change this. Okay, don't do that. Add this here, increase this based on where you live. You need to do A, B, and C. And you
Nice.
can go ahead and do those things. And for our believing body, our friends, our family, Minister Farrakhan said, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said something to me in Atlanta,
Hmm.
and it really resonated with me. Sometimes you will be in a conversation and you will remember everything about that conversation word for word. It was the Holy Day of Atonement, Brother Jamil, and we had the Ministry of Health set up in the Bluff. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan came out and he came over and he asked, "What is this?" And I said, "The Apostle, this is your Ministry of Health and Human Services. We are first responders, EMTs, paramedics, nurses, physicians, ER doctors." And I was kind of explaining that. And he was okay. He grabbed my hand and held it real tight. He said, "You are walking in the footsteps of Jesus the healer. But you know what? I never read anywhere where Jesus took any money after he healed the people." And that blew me away.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So when I give advice to people, when I walk you through what you need to do to
Yes.
protect yourself from a financial standpoint, or even protect yourself from a physical standpoint when I'm teaching a class or a workshop, I don't charge for that because I remember what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said.
Mm.
Now, the cost of doing business is that you are going to talk with your insurance agent, hopefully you do, and you ask these questions. You're going to walk into your bank and you're going to look and see, what are you really involved in? Do you have a standard type of checking account? Are you in too much of a checking account? Do you need to be online with your checking, do one of these online banks? Are you into cryptocurrency? Are you all of these things? Yeah, they can make money, but I'm not into gambling, right? And I'm not saying that it's good or bad. It may be for you, it may not be for you, but you need to ask to see what's the good and the bad about everything that it is that you're dealing with.
Sort of
Okay.
like a
You know,
risk benefit analysis. Uh,
absolutely,
happening. And I
absolutely.
have to say this, brothers and sisters, you are listening to Brother William Muhammad live on Nothing But the Truth with
Brother Jamil.
and Sister Tisha
Uh-huh.
right here tonight. He's speaking to us live from Oakland, California. And Brother William, my question that arises out of your commentary there, you started early in life in New York City,
Yes, sir.
more urban than that. Then you stopped in places like Philadelphia and other big cities,
Yes, sir.
educated in a small Midwestern town, and now you live in one of the most cosmopolitan regions of the country in Oakland. Does your travel and your experience as a first responder for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, does that help you understand some of the regional differences that people may need in their financial packaging, or am I making too much of that?
No, you're absolutely right. What will work in New York will not necessarily work in California, and what works in California is not going to work in a place like Columbia, Missouri, or even Louisville, Kentucky, where I had the pleasure of serving in that city, for many years. But there's one thing that is a constant.
Okay.
Everywhere I go, there's a group of people on the bottom, and there's a group of people on top.
Wow.
My
Right?
goodness, my
And
goodness.
there's three sciences that will never be taught. And I've been taught this from a very early age. Uh, Minister Nelson, may Allah be pleased, formerly known as Minister Nelson, Minister Akeem, may Allah be pleased with him out of New York. He said there's three sciences that black folks will never be, or an oppressed people will never be taught. Number one is the science of business.
Mm.
Number two is the science of warfare. Number three is the science of mating. right? The science of warfare. You know, they've had these wars going on in Afghanistan, they've had them going on in Iraq, Iran, all over the Middle East. And in those, you know, they've been going on for almost 20 years, and there may be 9,000 U.S. troops that have been killed. And we really, you know, we are very, very sorry for the death of those people who have given the ultimate sacrifice for what they believe in, you know. But on an average, there's 8 to 10,000 black men that lose their life to homicide just in North America a year.
Wow.
So when it's taken 20 years, right? And that's, we're not talking about heart disease. We're not talking about HIV or AIDS. We're talking, so on a conservative level, that's 200,000 black men that have lost their life to homicide over the last 20 years. So clearly, we need some help in that department. You know, the science of mating. We all know somebody got a baby mama, baby daddy, they can't stand. You know, it's unfortunate, right? And we're trying. And one thing that I definitely want to commend you two on is really just being such a wonderful example of getting the information on how to work in a marriage. I mean, I think it's a beautiful thing. And then you have people like Sister Katrina on that, you know, talk about what to do before and after you get married, how to continuously court, you know, somebody, so that we can build these cornerstones of our nation and of our community together. But then we got to get to the science of business.
Mm-hmm.
And all too many times we're looking for a fast way to get rich.
Mm.
I heard a story from Sister Dolores Ali. May Allah be pleased with
I
her.
mean, I mean,
She was like a mother to me, and I love her and Sister Sharon, and I love that whole family dearly because they really took me under their wing. But she said that one day she came up, she had to go to the meat packing plant, and she saw the Honorable Elijah Muhammad with a side of beef on his shoulder, and he threw it on the counter, and he was in there cutting meat. This is the messenger of God, right? So if the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is not afraid of a little hard work, right, and pooling our resources and coming together to build this empire that we get to stand on their shoulders now, then I shouldn't be afraid of those things either, right? You know you're going to need food. You know you're going to need shelter. You know you're going to need healthcare. You know you're going to need all of these things, right?
Right.
So why not work together for the good of ourselves instead of waiting on someone who is not coming to do these things for us? Your insurance agent has probably never sat you down and said, this is really how you save your money in your insurance policy.
Come on.
Okay, this is really how you go about getting the best life insurance policy instead of giving these universal life policies and these, you know, these things that you have to monitor so heavily and you have to keep putting big money into it to make it kind of work a little bit 25 years down the road, you know. So we're getting duped. I'm looking at some policies that were written 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
I bear witness.
And guess what? These life policies, Big Mama been paying on this thing $14.95 for 40 years.
yes, sir.
Yes.
And guess how much the face value of the policy is?
10,000. Nothing.
$2,000 and $3,000.
Now, Brother William, I have to bear witness to that. No, brother, that my mom loved you.
Oh, I love her too. I love her too.
She loves her some Brother William. But when my mother passed, Tisha, in 2014,
Mm-hmm.
she had been carrying an insurance policy like a dutiful black mom.
Mm-hmm.
And she kept this insurance policy and paid whatever it was. And it was a big company, right? I'm not going to call any names, but it started with a P and it got a big rock on it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, when they paid
Mm-hmm.
out the policy, my sister and I received a payment of $135 a piece.
Mm.
$135 a piece. That's why it's so important that we hear from the man whom you see on your screen right now. Oh, yeah, we welcome you from around the country. I see, oh, you gathering tonight. I see Brother Derek 3X is here tonight too, honey.
Mhm.
Brother Derek
Oh,
3.
Hello, Brother Derek.
my favorite.
Derek's here.
Yeah.
Brother Damon is with us. Always good to see you, Brother Damon. All right. Wa alaikum salam to you. Brother Mark.
Get him, Mark.
Yes, Sketty Mark from
Mark.
Springfield, Ohio. Sister Yolantha Stover is here with us. Look at Amir Rashid is with us. Big Mir is with us tonight. And he probably could tell some stories about you, Brother Wick. Don't let him
Yeah,
get
yes. Please don't bring him on.
don't let him get no money. He said they should have never let you get no money in his Charlie Murphy voice. You know what I mean?
Right.
I tell you, we're gonna take a short break now at the bottom of the hour. We went past the time, but you were giving so much knowledge. When we come back out of break, we're gonna talk more with Brother William about how his counsel to us can help us weather the storm when the income gets lower. How can the way we save it and manage it become even more important? I wonder what the mystery man has in store. This is
Does he
Nothing
know?
But the Truth with
Brother Jamil?
and Sister Tisha. A while ago, we promised you on Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil and Sister Tisha that we would actually give to you those things that give life and make it more abundant for us. So we had a guest on our program who's really not a guest. He's our brother. He's Brother Sean Ali, nutritionist, author, and practitioner of the healing art. We have his books available, and we promised we'd let you know when they were. So we have books like this one, right?
Yes.
A Healthy Me. That's a workbook that you can access for your own library. How about this title? This is really something to see, right? The Science of Thought and the Art of Thinking. I think we need to know that, right?
We sure do.
So, Brother Sean Ali's books are available. You can go to the message slot on our spot, right? On our page,
Nothing But the Truth.
Nothing But the Truth,
Brother Jamil.
and Sister Tisha. And you can actually connect with Sean Ali and get these books for yourselves.
Right.
I say that you do. It's the best thing you can ever invest in is your own self, your own health, and your own wellness.
That's right.
You agree with that, huh?
I agree, and he's here to help. So visit our page, Nothing But the Truth, with Brother Jamil and Sister Tisha, or you can actually go to his page on Facebook as well. But the main thing is just go and connect and get healthy.
That's right. Assalamu alaikum.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's not like them.
Right.
I do that every time.
Yeah, you do.
Peace, y'all. You know, I was watching,
Nothing But the Truth.
in fact, I've seen all of the episodes of,
Nothing But the Truth.
and in all of the episodes so far, I've noticed Brother Jamil gets to a point where he says, you know, we don't be preaching on this show. He don't sound like that. I sound like that, but that's what I hear. He says, you know, we're not going to preach on this show, but, and proceeds to make the point that he's making, and it's so beautiful and lovely and hilarious. Check this out.
To make the difference.
That's right.
Whatever it is that God has in you to become that. No, we won't be over here preaching. We won't be over here on the soapbox. We won't be up. Your camera's open, honey. I watched Jesus do music.
Yeah.
I watched him
on.
do love. I watched him do healing. I watched him do resuscitation. Now, you know we don't be preaching on Nothing But the Truth, but I got to tell you what I saw.
Bear witness.
And you do know that God has worked in him as surely as he worked in any of those ancients of old. Now, I'm not going to preach tonight because that's not what we do here, but I have to tell you, I'm a witness. I can have a table set before us in the presence of our enemy.
Yes,
And
sir.
it's because of the science that my brother Sean is talking about. You know, I don't preach on Nothing But the Truth. I don't be doing no preaching. I'm just saying that tonight. What'd you say, teacher?
Absolutely.
That's really what you want to do. That's the kind of spot that you want to run during the break, honey.
It's the truth.
Wow.
And you worked that
Nothing but
out
the
with the
truth.
mystery man to put that
Yes.
together.
So
Interesting.
one of the commercials said to go back to Nothing But The Truth page so that you can get in touch with Brother Sean Ali. But remember, we had to close the Nothing But The Truth page down on Facebook. So we'll be making a new one shortly. Remember, that's the page that had got hacked. So shut down. But you can go to Nothing But The Why my earring keep falling off? I think I need you to
Oh, is
buy
that
me
what
some
that
new
was?
ones when you buy me a new ring.
A new what?
Never mind. So you
Brothers
can go
don't
to
talk
our
about
Nothing But The
purchases.
Truth page on YouTube, or you can just go to my regular Facebook page, Tisha Muhammad, and we'll let you guys know when we get a new Nothing But The Truth page back up on Facebook.
Yes, indeed, no doubt about it. Look at the
All right.
music director checking in,
Yeah.
and Brother Amir says should never let you get no money. That's the truth thing. Just want to revisit something before we get into the banking aspect of the program. And we are going to make it out within our allotted hour of programming time. But I tell you, you made a point last week in the comment section that was very, very important. And you talked about keeping and preserving the love and symbolism and power that is in the original wedding band
Yes,
to
yes,
his wife.
Wait,
That
what
a
was
yeah.
man that band should stay there
Stay there.
and be there
Yes,
for a time immemorial.
what about yes?
yes.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure we touched on that so that there would be
Mm,
I can't.
right, because there ain't gonna be no preaching on here.
no.
No.
No preaching. No.
Let y'all make it this time, but I'll be back next week.
Okay,
We'll
I'm
let y'all ride.
sorry.
gonna let us ride this week. Now I'm not gonna mention the fact that as we drove down the road the other day,
Don't mention it.
that I looked over in your lap and you were scrolling pictures of diamond rings.
No, I was looking for a new jewelry box. It just happened to show diamond ring.
Oh,
Whatever. So, Brother William, Hamid, I need you to focus.
I'm
This is
focused.
really serious.
I'm on
Okay.
this.
Brother William, before we leave the
yes.
insurance, I don't know. This subject right now is heavy on my mind. I keep catching myself in the camera all frowned up because it's just like a million thoughts going through my head.
Yeah.
Because I see how fast things are moving, and not in the best way for us. Like things are
Right.
getting tighter, and I think we're still thinking we have time. And we do have some time, but we need to make the best use of the time that we have. And it's kind of just on my forefront. I know I kind of get a little hyper when things get on my
Right.
forefront like that, but it's just in my face, and it's something is telling me share this with your family, share this with the community that we have to
Yeah.
focus. And I don't want it to be where we don't do anything because we feel overwhelmed by it, right? I
Right.
want us to have that clear, practical talk where we can see ourselves moving forward with just little changes, just little subtle little changes.
Little thing.
Just start and do something. And things
Yes,
like
ma'am.
insurance, just insurance, what you talked about, the $4 difference makes all the difference in the world. If you don't even
Absolutely.
have a policy, don't go to Muchacho Motors Insurance and Walk No More Insurance. You know how, because we always think, well, I can't afford to go to this big company or that big company and get a real policy. We get those little ones you pay,
You don't know that.
and every month they threatening to cancel you. But you pay sometimes more for that than if you went to a big name
You
policy
do.
and get
You do.
life insurance or car insurance, whatever insurance. We need to know to just
Yeah.
that there's options available to us, young.
Yes, ma'am. There is. Absolutely. You know, it's okay for someone to tell you no and for it
Right.
not to hurt your feelings. You know, this is business. There's nothing emotional about it. Even when you're dealing with something as important as life insurance, it should not be an emotional decision. Although emotions can get wrapped up in it when it's time for us to handle that business at the end of our loved one's time here among us, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have this theory or this thought program. Hold on just a moment. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Of being smart. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay.
I apologize. I'm still working. Of being smart or being wise, right? It's smart to have something in place.
Okay.
It is. It's smart to let's get something in place. it's wise to make it work for you short and long term,
Okay.
right? Getting something in place. Well, I have insurance through my job. Well,
Mm,
that's good. That's smart to have something. You got, at least you got something.
okay.
But a lot of times, I don't know about you, but I'm not that comfortable with someone else, especially a business, having a life insurance on my person.
Hmm.
They own it. You don't. And
Okay.
the moment that you no longer work there, you don't have that insurance. And all of that money that you paid into it is gone.
Yes.
99.9% of the time, it's an accidental death and death and dismemberment.
Hmm.
So you have to die in an accident, or you have to die or have to be dismembered in an accident for it to pay off.
Okay.
Okay, so that's not everything. So if someone were to pass away or return to their essence just of old age, or they may have had cancer, or they may have, whatever the reason is, unless it's an actual accident,
Hmm.
no one gets any money.
Wow.
When you have the ones through your job.
When you have the one through your job, and there's some other ones too that's out there. You have to be very careful when you're dealing with life insurance. This is not like buying a bag of chips.
Right.
And then, you'll see people say, well, we start ours at 500,000. We start ours at $1 million. Well, I don't do that,
Hmm.
and for the people that we were talking about before, the brother Kareem Ali's and others that we know and that we trust, right? I asked this question: if everything goes wrong in a
Okay.
month, and I mean everything, worst case scenario, if everything goes wrong, what can you afford to pay that's not going to hurt you? That number may be, and it's different for every person.
Hmm.
That number could be $25 or $20. That number could be $250. That number could be $2,500. That's how you base what you start with. You
Right.
start with what you can afford because you don't want those things to lapse. Number
Okay.
one.
Hmm.
Number two, let's go through this policy with a fine tooth comb. You need to ask the hard questions. What happens if this happens?
Mm.
Okay, can you show me where it says A, B, and C, where it says that this person is going to get this money at this particular
Hmm.
time? Okay, what do they need to have to even collect this? Where do I keep this? Do I have to have more than one copy? Do I need to have a will? Do I need to have a trust? Where can I get a will and trust? Do I need to have both, or will one suffice? So
Those are the questions that really grow up out of the understanding that you're providing us tonight. We're going to
yes,
run for the top of the hour with questions from the comment section.
thank you.
Very important question in the comment section tonight from our sister, and it's on the screen now, Sister Javon Muhammad. We want to thank her and the Sugar Shack Farms Industries for being one of our principal sponsors, along with Brother William and Sister Katrina and others who you'll see their ads coming up on the program in weeks to come.
Yeah.
But Sister Javon asked the question. She says, I'm late to the show. I have term coverage, New York Life and Primerica for 10 years. Did you cover whole life? And she asked the question, at 51, does it make sense?
Hmm.
So
Yes.
if you could give some brief explanation to that, and then Sister
Well,
Javon, I want you to contact Brother.
absolutely. Absolutely, Sister Javon. At 51, you should absolutely be looking at a whole life policy, not just for a death benefit, but for a living benefit. Whole
Mm.
life policies, they gain in cash value and face value. So what you may start out at 25, 50, 100,000, whatever that number is, 500,000, it will be a little bit more expensive than when you were 30 or when you were 25. It will be a little bit more expensive because the time that an insurance company will be collecting is a little bit shorter, right? The term policy is exactly that. It's only good for a term. So the moment that term is up, that coverage is no longer going to be there for you.
Okay.
It will go away, right? So a 10-year term, yes, it's cheap. But if you don't die within that 10 years, you've wasted that. I don't want to say you've wasted, but we could have used that money a little bit differently, and it would have a much better effect.
I see.
Now, a lot of times what I will do is do a combination. So we want to leave a legacy. So I may have 500,000 for Ahmad.
Mhm.
Ahmad is, he's a young man. He's got a lot of things, good things going for him. It's my son.
Mhm.
When I want to make
Just
sure
turned
that
18, by the way.
that turned 18, yes sir,
Shit.
and works for me.
Yes, sir.
So I'm happy about that. But I want
Yes.
to make sure that he's taken care of, and actually have some kind of start. So I have a large term policy because term is cheap.
Mm.
Mhm.
Term is real cheap. It's always going to be cheap because it gathers no cash value. You can't borrow
Mm.
against it. You can't use it as an asset. It's not an asset. It's truly a bill. Now, a whole life policy is something that I have for myself. It is for my final expenses, any bills that I have outstanding, any
Mhm.
mortgages that I have outstanding, any car notes if I were to have a car note outstanding, to give me a proper Muslim burial, without somebody having to have a fish fry, or without somebody having to do a GoFundMe, or without
Yes.
somebody passing the hat, right?
Yeah.
So I would do a combination, Sister Javon, of both, and I can give you the pricing on that. The longer you wait, I will tell you this, and this is real important. The longer you wait, the more expensive it gets. And
Hmm.
life insurance is based on age,
Mhm.
sex, height, weight, and health.
Mhm.
Mm.
So it gets higher
So
the worse
wait, I
those
should
numbers
Right.
are.
save. Now,
Men are higher than women. Yes.
and what you just said though, I could save money because I'm sexy. Is that what you just said?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I
Yes,
thought.
sir.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm
There's a
listening.
special discount for it.
I'm listening carefully to what you're
I
saying, and I
feel like you
appreciate
need to
that.
let the Lord use you.
Let the Lord use. All right,
Hey,
now,
man.
Brother William, we're going to wrap up some final comments from you in just a moment. But you see, tonight we're learning
We're
much
learning.
about industry of financial industry, I should say, that we did not learn. I'm going to share something with you. Then we're going to wrap up these comments and the questions and
Church
finish
family.
up. But I want to share something with you tonight. If the mystery man could bring up a photograph, we want to make Thursdays some must see YouTube TV.
Mhm.
On Thursday nights, coming out of the central time zone, right there on your screen right now, another program from 3D Business Development. That program, if you can see the picture on your screen, from student minister David Muhammad, his crackerjack accountant son, and
Yeah.
the inspiration behind the business, Sister Catherine, his beautiful wife, they're going to be coming on at 8 o'clock Central Time. So when we come on at 8 Eastern and go off at 9 Eastern, they're coming on. And I don't think you want to miss that program to see the wonderful things that you can do. We'll be showing that program again in a short time, but we're going to also add to the discussion tonight, Brother Williams' direct number. I hope, may I give the number?
Yes, sir. That's fine.
Okay. Thank you, my dear brother. The number that we're going to contact Brother William is a 510 number. Everybody can say all together the town. Okay, town business. Okay,
Pound business.
510 510 0722. And it's going up on your screen right now. Jot that down, record it, or refer back to the recording for information on how to contact our brother William Muhammad to get you started. He may not be able to do everything for you there where he is, but he'll
Right.
put you in the hands of others like Brother Kareem Ali, like others around the nation who know the business and can help you to get something that you need. Yes, ma'am. You want to say
I have
something,
one
ma'am?
question real quick
Mhm.
before you go, because the mind is spinning. I have a term life policy that I swear I've paid on for 30 years. It has been 30 years. And I just noticed the change to it that I didn't do. And I think what happened is what you just said. The value of
Yeah.
it dropped because it said, thank you for the change that you made to the policy. I was like, I didn't make no change. And I asked the ex-husband, he said, I didn't make no change. And but I think because we hit a certain term. And I remember when we first set it up 30 years ago, in your 20s, you're like, that's 30 years. I don't have to worry about that. But I've paid it every year. We paid it like it was nothing. We had set up the little child riders for the children because they were one and
Hmm.
some even born. and we've paid it all this time up until when they got 25. Then it had to go to like a regular adult rider, but the value didn't change. The
Right.
rate changed, but the value of it. So I feel like after 30 years, I've wasted so much time because it's
Yeah.
still a little policy for the children riders, right? At least it's
Right.
something, is what I always said. That's why I'm pushing that we have to have this type of talk because we had something, but I could have had so much more. Praise be to Allah, we
Right.
had something. At this point, I still have that term policy I've paid on for 30 years. Do I keep that? Or do I just let that go and say, and go for the whole? Because at the
Well,
time, it's probably gonna drop more. What I'm
some companies, I'll take a look at it for you, right? To get a copy of the policy, and I'll take a look at it for you. But some life insurance companies will uh, have an ability. You'll have an ability to convert it to a whole policy, and they will take the premiums that you have based on your age now, and they will turn it into a whole life policy, which is a more permanent thing.
yes.
So let's take a look at it. Let's review it. If it makes sense at that, I'll tell you, okay, well, this is good. Well, this is not. Or you
Yeah.
can take this money and convert it over here, and we can make something work that way. And if it makes sense, absolutely, let's move forward. But if not, at least you know exactly where you stand and what you would need to do to put yourself back in the position, because, we're still very young. We're all very young on here. I did a policy yesterday for somebody who's 75 years old, and it was
Mhm.
still well under $100 a month. So, and it's a whole life policy. So,
Good.
there's still options. There are still options out here. Let's just look at it and let's see what we can do to if there's something that's a problem, if something that's a problem, we can absolutely see if we can do some kind of conversion.
All
Okay.
right. All right. Lots of
Beautiful.
comments coming in. I see you, Mom. She says the form 1035 could also be applicable. Sister Javon wants to remind us that hers increases every year, but she also pays more. And then the last question that we'll wrap up with tonight before we get ready for the final words in the top of the hour. Brother Damon says, is it possible for us to have an insurance company in our
Yes,
nation?
absolutely.
That's something that we should explore. We don't have to give all the answers tonight, but he said yes. And our brother, the resident insurance guru,
Mhm.
the Swami of securities, Brother William, said that the answer is yes. So we should look forward to the possibility of greater discussions, further discussions. Brother William, would you agree to come back?
Yes, absolutely.
Would you come back on with us? The response tonight in the chat room and also in comments on text messages and elsewhere has been consistent and steady, and folks want to know how they can get information. And remember, this is early on in the
Right.
return of Nothing But the Truth
Mhm.
with
Brother Jamil?
and Sister Tisha. So
Sorry.
we're early in the return.
Yes.
But wait, as we begin to build up viewership momentum, we want to have you back to help many, many
Yes,
other folks. Brother, you've got
absolutely.
30 seconds to give us a last word. Then Sister Tisha will give us some instructions, and we're going to ride into the sunset. Brother William?
Yes, yes, sir. Once again, thank you all so very much for allowing me to share what I've learned over my last several years in the financial sector. And I'll leave with this. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it.
I like that. I like that. That means the people liked it too. Thank you, Brother William Muhammad, for being a guest tonight on tonight's edition of Nothing But the Truth.
Thank
Brother, you
you.
want to give
Thank
some instructions to our viewers before we go? And there is a way you can directly support us as well. You can send your donations to $ Bro Works. That's $BRO, capital WORKS, Bro Works. And those donations will go toward creating the kind of technical proficiency to make the program look better. Special thanks tonight to Brother Mike Red Eagle Nacella from right
Yes.
here in DC. That's one of our brothers who looks in over our shoulders to make sure everything is all right. And tonight we came just a scintilla closer to finding out who is the mystery man. I don't know if we're making all that much progress, but they say he disappeared into a shadow. When we looked, it was just fluttering birds.
Fluttering birds.
And he was gone.
Out
Just
of
like
control.
that. But we thank the mystery man for his continual stewardship of us here on Nothing But The Truth. Hun, is there anything else we need to share?
I just want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in again to another episode of Nothing But The Truth. Like he said, we're coming back strong. We just wanted to jump out there and just get started. It's been a year. We're sorry that it took too long, but life was lifing, and so here we are. We're
Been a
gonna
long
come
time.
back. Oh
Shouldn't have
man,
left you
never mind.
without a strong show to step to.
My,
My
my turn.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna come back with new graphics, new sound, new commercials, and we want you to come back next Thursday. Remember, if you're interested in being a guest on the show, you have something to share with the community, hit us on the inbox, send us a text, let us know what it is that you want to do so we can work you into the program. This platform is for all of us to stretch out and grow and share what we know. Did y'all hear my bars?
I heard your bars. You got bars.
Bars.
Everybody, good night and assalamu alaikum.
Like